What's going on, guys? And today we'll be reacting to another wonderful video, Black Ops 2 MOTD Dead World Record History, the 10-year journey of the most grueling map. It's made obviously by Wonderful. I think we reacted to his Buried last week, and this week we'll be reacting to MOTD Dead, and we're going to be finishing off Black Ops 2 with Origins. That would be next week, I hope. And yeah, I cannot wait till be finished with Black Ops 2, and then we'll be moving on to something else. I don't know if Black Ops 1, Black Ops 3, maybe other ones. I don't know, but I'm really enjoying these series. I always look forward to reacting to these videos. They're just so amazing to react to, and I always have fun reacting to them. So I hope you guys are enjoying my reactions as well. So let's go ahead and start reacting to this, shall we? Black Ops 2, Mob of the Dead.
Black Ops 2 Mob of the Dead.
One of my
For
favorite
many
maps, honestly.
players, at one point or another, this was their favorite map of all time.
It wasn't
This map
mine
had
until
everything going
recently.
for it: the nightmarish aesthetic, sweeping exploratory layout, solid mechanics, and basis on one of the most haunted real-life locations in the world,
I want to go
Alcatraz
visit it
Island.
so much.
It also came on the tail of the disappointing releases of Transit and Die Rise, two of the worst received maps in Zombies history. Mob of the Dead did a lot for the revitalization of both the content creation scene and the competitive scene of Black Ops 2 Zombies. What players probably didn't realize at the time was that Mob of the Dead would become one of the longest and most grueling maps for the world record that Call of Duty had seen so far. In fact, in the 10 years since the map's release, it seems like some players have spent more time playing the map than some actual prisoners spent in
Okay, that's
Alcatraz.
insane.
In this video, I'll take you through the past
They
decade
played
of these
that
players,
much
and you can
mob.
decide whether their time served on Mob was worth it for the incredible rounds and strategy optimizations that were achieved.
I say they were worth it. I mean, they're gonna go up down in history. They were worth it, but more time than the actual people that served in Alcatraz. Oh no. Oh, okay. Strap yourselves in, boys. We're in for a big one here.
Mob of the Dead was released on April 16, 2013, as the second DLC for Black Ops 2. As with all Black Ops 2
Man,
DLC releases,
that time was
it
insane.
dropped
I
on
remember it.
Xbox 360 a month before it came out on PS3 and PC. And due to performance issues and coding limitations, Xbox 360 was by far the best platform to play on anyway for a long time to come. Mob was billed as an atmospheric horror thriller adventure map with a celebrity cast that included the late great Ray Liotta. But its layout was more of a return to form than the vertical confusion of Die Rise and the stranded feeling of Transit. However, like all the Black Ops 2 maps, it introduced a unique experimental feature that changed gameplay. In this case, that was Afterlife. Instead of Quick Revive, when a player went down, they would spawn as a ghost and have the opportunity to revive themselves and also tell
One of the best mechanics to have ever came out of Black Ops 2, in my opinion. They brought it back as in like the what was it, like the monster thing in Shadows of Evil, but it wasn't as good. It wasn't as good. Mob of the Dead really made this new system amazing. I wish they would bring it back because this it's a down system as well. So I guess that's another reason why they might not bring it back, because of the down system. You can have so many downs in one round, and then they'll be back up again the next round. You'll regain another down, so it's kind of like an infinite down glitch. So I can see why, but still, it's a great system.
teleport zombies and find Easter egg steps in the process. In solo, a player could have up to 3 of these at a time, and would get one back at the end of each round.
Yeah, see,
This gave much more survivability to players than the classic 3 downs and a game over, which already made games much longer from the get-go. Mob's unique perk, Electric
oh,
Cherry,
I love
is
this.
also meant to help with survivability. It creates an electric burst around the player when they reload, stunning nearby zombies, and it became very influential on how the map was played. The first 100 on Mob was achieved around 2 days after the map's release,
Already
in a
100?
game that would become a solid first world record for the map. A player named Champs0707 played to round 150 and quit after 6 days in-game and over 60 hours of game time. The reason he was able to make it so far so simplistically was because Mob of the Dead was the first and only Black Ops 2 map to introduce Black Ops 1 style environmental traps. There are 3 of them on the map. The Sniper Tower,
Wow.
which sucks,
Imagine just quitting at
the
150
Fan
and calling it
Blade
a
Trap,
day.
which is in a tight area, and the Acid Trap, which Champs used because it was in one of the most open areas of the
I
map,
love that trap.
the prison cafeteria. Champs would run circles in this area with the trap on, and when it deactivated and cooled down, he would turn the horde around and take them out to the cell block area, shoot them for points with the MP5, run back through and activate the trap again. To keep himself safe, he used the upgraded wonder weapon, the Acid Gat, but he didn't use the
Yeah,
Hell's
it acts as a
Retriever,
monkey bomb,
as
so
its infinitely killing upgrade wasn't discovered until a few days after he had started the game. But, as with most first world records on zombies maps, Champs' record only had the competition of every single high round player excited about the
yeah,
map.
okay. So the only thing I know about this is that is that the tomahawk actually makes a big difference, even if it only kills like 3 or 6. I think maximum 6. I'm not sure how many. Even though it kills only a few zombies at a time when you throw it, it makes a huge difference.
Map, and wouldn't last for long. A week later, seasoned BO1 veteran Zeus Cannons
Zeus
played a
Cannon.
game to 166, spending 10 days and 79 hours in game before getting a G-spawn error, meaning his game ran out of object slots. At this point, a fair amount of other games were ending in error as well. Zeus Cannons was the first to discover that Black Ops 2 did not have insta-kill rounds like Black Ops 1. However, he mentions in his video that this game was not world record by the time it ended. A British player named Gaming Ninjas HQ, also known as Suffered Flyer, was on 168 when Zeus Cannons was on 166. However, no footage still exists of Suffered Flyer's game. Only a mention in Zeus's video and some tweets from Suffered's account. But don't worry, this record would only last a week as well before more progression was made, and Suffered Flyer would be back. On May 8th, an up-and-coming American player named the Space Marine 360 would reach round 177 on Mob before disconnecting
Such an American
from the
name.
Xbox servers. This was the first recorded world record game to use the Hell's Redeemer, and even though it only gets a max of 6 kills every throw, the difference in time it made was staggering.
Yeah, see.
While Zeus Cannons was 79 hours to 166,
79.
Space was 55 hours to
24,
177.
almost 24
making him
hours.
around 30 hours faster.
24, 30, yeah.
Space also changed up the acid trap strategy for this game. Instead of running
Look
into
at
the
that. You saved almost 30 hours. It's usually about 24, 30 hours. You saved that much time just with the tomahawk.
cafeteria when the
Dang.
acid trap was turned on, he would run
Just that with a
upstairs
tomahawk. Oh
into
my
the
god.
infirmary and kill the trickle of zombies that spawned up there. This is also the first game that seemed to utilize the spawn control present in the cafeteria.
Okay, I also know that,
And
okay,
zombies
he goes all the way into the infirmary. Yeah, no. You really don't want to do that. It fucks up with the spawns. What was that? Oh well, it fucks up with the spawns. I just heard a motorcycle go by. But yeah, it fucks up with the spawns. You don't want to go too far in. Like I said, I know some things about Black Ops 2, Mob of the Dead, and yes, that obviously that iconic what is it called? Poison trap, acid trap. The acid trap. What you want to do is just go all the way up to the stairs and stay there. Don't go up any further because it fucks up with the spawns.
Spawn control refers to when you stand in a specific area to force the zombies to spawn from specific windows.
Yep.
On Mob, if you stand in the very back of the room, near the workbench or the claymore wall by, The zombies will only spawn from the 3 windows inside the cafeteria. This is really only useful for the beginning of rounds or insta-kills, but Space did more to make his spawns faster as well. He kept certain doors closed, including the door at the top of the infirmary stairs, and even more critically, the door from the cell block down to the showers. Previous world records had left this open, but it turned out this slowed down zombie spawns a lot, because the zombies had to run to you from farther away. Had Space not disconnected, his record might have lasted a lot longer, but since the game had ended early, it was vulnerable for another player to take. None other than
Not the
Suffered Flyer
Xbox
would come back for
update.
his record, and with a vengeance. On May 23rd, Suffered would
Ooh.
achieve Mob's most critical milestone so far, the first reset on round 195. Not much was known about Zombies map resets and how they worked until years later, but for now, players knew that after a certain amount of time, within a range of a few hours, the map would run out of memory and restart itself. On Mob, this happened after 95 to 100 hours of playtime. Suffered Flyer adopted a new variation of the acid trap strategy and managed to survive for the maximum amount of time that Mob allowed. Instead of running inside the cafeteria while the acid trap was on, or upstairs like Space, Suffered ran outside in the cell block, using the Hell's Redeemer to kill zombies and keep the horde small and manageable. This was the first usage of the specific strategy
Okay,
that
so
would
he's doing
become the
it
meta
backwards.
for most of the next decade. However, the popular theory emerging at the time was that using the tomahawk too much was causing the errors that some people were getting, along with too many electric
I
cherry
could not do that. I
activations
would
as
fuck it up
well.
so much. That short amount
Therefore,
of
at some
space.
point, probably in the 170s, Suffered stopped using the weapon, dropped all his perks except for Juggernog, and shot for points to pull the trap instead of using the tomahawk. This obviously slowed his game down a lot, as he wasn't constantly killing anymore, but he did manage to avoid the error successfully.
Okay.
However, Suffered Flyer wasn't even done with Mob of the Dead. There was another milestone to be achieved, and he would restart immediately after his 195 to hunt it down. Just over 3 weeks later, around June 15th, he would add another considerable achievement to his list, the first 200 ever on Black Ops 2. This game, it would appear Suffered used the tomahawk the whole game all the way to 213, when he reset again, probably to test how
So
far you could use it without erroring. Sadly, today only the last 60 seconds of footage remain of this game, but the shakeup it gave the mob scene was unmistakable. Some accused Suffered Flyer of cheating due to a variety of reasons: the presence of walking zombies, lack of kills on the scoreboard, lack of perks at the end of the game. But high-level players knew that these were
yeah,
features of the map or ways that players were forced to adapt.
well, yeah. I mean, you have walkers in every single round. It's not just because you're at a high round doesn't mean you're never gonna have walkers anymore. That's what makes it difficult. That's what fucks up your training in certain areas. Is the walkers, the fact that they can't keep up with the faster zombies, so that's how you get that's how you get walled in between them and die eventually. But yeah, you're gonna get those. Those aren't really true, I guess, zombie players that have gone up to pretty high round
To
if
avoid
they don't know
error.
that simple thing.
And this aspect of working around the
I mean, I've
errors
gotten to round
would start
100s,
to
so
become
I
a
know
more
that even
widespread
in
right
at 100,
after
you're gonna get
PC.
really slow
At this
walkers.
point, Mob began to show just how stubborn of a map it could be. Not long after Suffered Flyer finished his game, in July of
Oh my
2013,
god, the quality.
Space Marine would try to wrestle his record back, and he almost did. Keyword almost. Space Marine would make it all the way to 212 before a bizarre error ended his game. This error, which became known as the Hunk Error, or, as you'll see, the Space Marine Error, would keep coming back to haunt him. The strangest thing about it is, to this day, no one really has any idea what causes it. Space was similarly at a loss,
So
but
another
that
error
wouldn't stop
similar
him
to
from
the
trying
buried one,
again,
huh?
and again and again. Over the course of the next year, Suffered Flyer's record would stand uncontested, while Space G-spawned on 190, Hunk errored on 202, Hunk errored on 207, and reset on 209, putting in total over 700 hours into playing the
Gosh,
map. This was also the most
700
200s any
hours.
player had achieved on
I
any
would give
map
up after
ever.
like 2 attempts.
It would
Maybe
take
even
until
1.
June of 2014, exactly a year after Suffered's record, for Space to finally escape the prison. Like many Zombies maps, Mob rewards dedication, and Space had a lot of it. He started up a game that summer with a bit of a retro strategy in mind. He would drop Electric Cherry after 160 and stop using the Tomahawk after round 200 in an attempt to prevent the Hunk error. Survival was no longer a problem.
Whoa, okay, how did he do?
Mob
Oh,
can get unpredictable, as since you're constantly killing the zombies when using the Tomahawk, they're constantly spawning. But Space showed a mastery of the strategy unlike anyone else in the game to get out of tough situations. Finally, this game would see him get lucky enough to last until 1 round
wow.
after the world record.
He is
when
insane.
reset
He
on
knows all the
214.
strats.
With this game, a hard-fought success story, Space Marine was crowned the king of Mob.
Hey, what
However,
a crown to...
this record would not last
What a
as
crown.
long as it took to get. 5 months
Immediately
later,
gives the crown to someone else.
a new player would enter the gates.
Oh man, these new players.
Deniska wanted a 200 on the only Black Ops 2 map it was possible on at the time, but he wasn't stopping there. After he achieved that goal, he went back for the record, playing much faster than either Suffered Flyer or Space Marine. This was owing not only to strategy optimizations, but also to the fact that Deniska used the Tomahawk all game, proving that the Hunk error was caused by something else.
Okay, so it wasn't
Deniska
Tomahawk?
destroyed the record by 8 rounds, reaching round 222 before resetting rather late at 101.5 hours. Not only was this the highest round on Black Ops 2 at the time, it was the highest round on any Black Ops Zombies map ever. And this is where speed really began to become a factor on Mob. While players never knew exactly when they were going to reset, it was always at about the same time, so any player who wanted to beat Deniska would have to play considerably faster than him, seeing as a single round in the 220s played as fast as the strategy could go was well over an hour long, and Deniska had gotten a late reset. But he had made a small mistake in this game. While he had optimized his trap pulls and Tomahawk usage, he had left the door from the acid trap to the infirmary closed, which, unknown to him, made him slower. This left room for improvement even on Deniska's staggering record, but it wouldn't be beaten for some time. Deniska was also one of the first to do first box restarts on Mob to get the Mark II before fire sales spawned. This wouldn't become widespread until years later, but it sped up the meta around 1 to 50 strategy, camping early rounds in the double tap room by a lot. The problem was that getting a single Mark II out of the box before it moved could take hours, but when it paid off, it gave Deniska an additional edge. Nearly a year later, in October 2015,
the lengths these people go to get the world record is insane.
Less than 70 hours to 200, 91 hours to 218, on pace to make it all the way to 225 before resetting, when he was put on death row by a Hunk error.
Whoa.
No.
Hey,
91 hours of gameplay
what?
ended right there.
I got the Space Marine error.
Someone else would have to finish the job. And
Imagine
someone
having
else
an error
did.
name after you, man.
On
Imagine
June
anything,
19th,
having anything in
2016,
gaming world
beloved
named after
Zombie
you.
Record staff member
That's
Gamer
insane.
O'Neill
I want something
barely
like that.
scraped by Deniska's
Even if it's an
record,
error.
pushing it up by 1 round to 223. He reset just 6 minutes into the round, and
Oh shit, someone beat it.
45 minutes earlier than Deniska had.
Oh!
You got it though. 100
There it
hours.
is, boys. Oh, there it is, boys. You only had 6 extra minutes. minutes!
However, O'Neill opened the door in the acid trap, which allowed more zombies to die with each trap pull and a faster route to getting Juggernog back after going down. At this point, it's probably a good idea to explain how zombies players measure speed, as it's become very important on Mob. The unit
Okay, so I kind of want to explain this because I know a lot of people aren't really gonna understand it, but so let me see if I can explain as much as I can understand it. So this right here is the time it takes for them to get to whatever round they're on. So it took them 99 hours to get to, I think, whatever round this is. It's very blurry. Actually, let me move my model. Yeah, let me move it out the way. Whoops. Okay, so it takes them this many hours to get to whatever round this is. Then it takes them, then this other time right here is however long they have extra before the reset or an error occurs, meaning that an error should have occurred like a minute. I think that's a minute or an hour before then. That means they're doing something to prevent the error from happening and keep it as long and to keep playing for as long as they can. Meaning that the longer the green timer keeps going, the faster they're getting and the more things they're preventing it from crashing. I think. But I just know that the 6 minutes that the other guy had, meaning that he had 6 extra minutes to get further than the other guy, meaning that 6 extra minutes helped him get one more round closer to the world record, or is the world record now. So I'm assuming he's about to explain it again. He's about to explain something.
for speed is SPH,
So for speed,
or seconds per horde.
yeah, seconds per
Measuring
horde.
the amount
Okay.
of seconds it takes to kill 24 zombies, or one horde. The SPH of Mob's strategy when O'Neill was running it was about 25.8, which compared to other Black Ops 2 maps is on the slower side. In Deniska's 218 game, he was able to run the strategy at about 24.9 SPH, as he was better about hitting the trap as soon as it was available and getting the max of 6 kills per tomahawk throw. However, as you'll see, this was a hard speed to keep up. 10 months later, O'Neill's record would be matched by famous Zombies high rounder Steve, who played at basically the exact same pace as O'Neill, getting the same reset time as O'Neill, also 6 minutes into 2:23. In his video, Steve commented how much respect he had for players with a 200 plus on Mob, as it's a long and slow run. But these two games showed just how consistent the strategy had become. Since there are no special rounds or trades to be done on Mob, there's almost no luck involved in gameplay after early round camping, except reset time. Instead, Mob proved to be mostly skill and endurance. The less a player downed, the less time they would have to waste taking the gondola to Jug and back to recover, saving time that stacked up considerably over the course of the game. At this point, most world record games on Mob had between 25 and 40 downs.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's
But
something I hadn't
eventually,
even
a
thought
player
about.
came
The
along who really
downs.
scraped the skill ceiling of how flawlessly you could play
That's
the
something you
map.
kind of forget.
Enter Lamster.
25 to 40
Actually,
downs.
Lamster had entered back in 2016, and he already had 4 200s on the map by the time he made the Mob world record a 3-way tie in April 2018,
Wow.
giving him the same amount of 200s as Space Marine. All this experience had made him considerably skillful at avoiding downs. When he reset on 223, he had a total of 9 downs, which was unheard of at the time and is still insanely impressive by today's standards. This saved him 20 to 30 extra trips to Jug that O'Neill and Steve had taken, which, combined with other minor but effective time saves, made him nearly 3 hours faster than the world record games. So why didn't he blow the world record out of the water? Well, remember when I said resets were within a range of a few hours every time? Lamster got almost the lowest possible end of that range,
Wow.
resetting early at 98 hours instead of nearly 101. I said he was good, not lucky. Lamster's timing was
Yeah, they
also
have to find out
unfortunate,
what's causing
because
this.
while he was in this game, one of the most
Maybe it's like
important
buried and I never
discoveries
do.
ever made in High Round Zombies history was publicized. In late March of 2018, a Black Ops 1 player named Oxygen for the Win uploaded a video dissecting exactly how resets worked, and how you could improve your reset by hours, and determine what it would be down to the minute. Oxygen specifically researched Black Ops 1, but the same
Bro, speedrunners would cure cancer. We could get to Mars and colonize it if they put all of their time into into other things besides Call of Duty.
idea worked for
Oh
Black
my
Ops 2.
god.
Every zombies map has a certain amount of entities, or interactable objects such as perks, zombies, parts, sound triggers, and much more. Every 50 milliseconds, the total number of entities on the map will get stored, and when this variable goes over a certain number, the map will restart itself. Players could increase reset by removing entities off the map. In Mob's case, this included fuel cans, Brutus lockdowns, the Easter egg song, claymores, and the spoon for the golden spork. For every one entity removed, this adds about 20 minutes to the total reset time. With all optimizations, reset could be increased by up to 4 hours, or about 3 rounds. Then again, with bad optimization, reset could be decreased, which was what happened to Lamster. This was a groundbreaking discovery, as it meant that almost every time-based map on Black Ops 1 and 2 could be beaten just by playing the same strategy and picking extra stuff up off the map. But this wouldn't be the only step taken for Black Ops
Yeah,
2
because
in
they're gonna
2018.
take time to remove
Something
the
would happen
entities,
that would
so
nearly tear the community in two. This something was a player named Stealth McFilthy TV. Stealth also had several 200s on Mob on console, but he was the first to play a major zombies game on a PC version of Black Ops 2 called Redacted in December of 2018. This was an offline
kind of like
mod
plutonium.
that brought the inferior PC port up to the same level as console. It made it so players wouldn't get disconnected, and so players could put patches in the game that would stop the traps from breaking on 159. His game started out as more of a test than anything, since Stealth had no idea how long this PC version would hold out. The answer, however, was 104 hours. Stealth became the first to play out a full game with the new extended reset optimizations,
Oh shit,
annihilating
he
the
beat it,
record
yeah.
and reaching round 228 even though he just used the classic strategy. As you might expect, a game on this unsanctioned platform that beat the record by so much upended not only the mob community, but the entire Black Ops 2 community. On maps like Buried, it was discovered that errors that happened on console were non-existent or majorly pushed back on PC due to hardware differences. PC also had much
We
more
knew about this from last time we
customization,
watched this.
such as scalable FPS and field of view. But that wasn't all. Stealth also gained time back in his game in another way that was specific to PC Mob. When playing on keyboard, there is no delay between pressing the trap button and the trap activating, unlike on controller. It's less than a second change for each activation, but with thousands of trap pulls for every 200 plus game, it adds up. All this divided the community sharply on whether Stealth's game should be considered cheating, whether the leaderboard should be split, or whether this was just the next step forward in progressing the record. High Round Zombies players are not exactly known for easily agreeing. However, as more and more players tried their hand at Redacted, it became clear that new progression and innovations on the maps would be made on PC, not console. But this didn't stop Lamster from keeping console in the competition for the next year. Lamster would play not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 more 200 plus games on Mob between Stealth's game and February of 2020, when his dedication finally paid off again. Lamster did actually make the only knowledge progression in history on the hunk error during this time.
Whoa! 102 hours of that. I got a killer! But, I deserve it for falling Deniska.
The only way to fix it is to get a new Xbox.
Oh my
After
god.
2 hunk errors, Lamster did just that, and it took him another game lost to a power outage before he finally tied Stealth's PC record at 228. But wait, he got an earlier reset again. That's right, Lamster would once again play faster and with less downs than the leading game, only to reset early on a joint world record. Well, this was because Mob's entity count didn't always work exactly the same as the other maps. On rare occasions, after going to the bridge to Pack-a-Punch, the map would randomly add a bunch of entities, dropping the reset time by a lot, and this is what happened to Lamster. With a full-length reset, this game could have potentially reached 230, and this was in part because it was the first world record mob game to use a new strategy since 2013. But what new knowledge had been unlocked that changed the game? Well, actually, it was a strategy that had been discovered in the first few weeks of Mob's release, but had gone under the radar until now. Way back in May of 2013, zombie strategist MatoMaster21 uploaded a video on what would later be referred to as stairs strategy. Instead of running out in the cell block while the acid trap was on and
I think this is the only
tomahawking
one I
the
know.
horde, MatoMaster activated the trap from the cafeteria side,
Yeah, that right
ran
there.
through it
He just
before
stops
it
right
started
there.
spraying, and camped in the stairwell that led up to the infirmary.
That's the only
Space
strategy I
Marine
knew from
almost
this
did this in his 177,
from this
but his
game.
version was less optimized
Yeah,
because
see, he would
ran
go all the
way up into
Yep.
the infirmary, causing the zombies to spawn farther away. In MatoMaster's version, he could kill the few zombies that ran into the stairwell with the tomahawk, while keeping the spawns close and then run out. This strategy had been the fastest one found, but it was deemed too dangerous and inconsistent at first, and it was forgotten about. That is, until September 2018, when British player the MC Zombie Slayer used this strategy to beat the 100 speedrun world record, held at the time by a player named What the Fuzzle. MC only beat Fuzzle by 3 minutes, but since Fuzzle's game had been considered very difficult to beat, and MC was able to beat it with 14 downs, players immediately began to see the potential of the strategy. It was made even faster and safer when another player, TTS for Life, discovered that you could stand up against the railing and the zombies would briefly get stuck trying to hit you. While this was briefly argued as a glitch, it was eventually agreed upon as legit, as you weren't invincible, and some zombies would still run all the way down the stairs to hit you. By the time Lamster played it in his 228, it was becoming the new meta. But there was one drawback to the strategy. It required use of Electric Cherry to stun the zombies while going through the door to the acid trap, and
Yeah,
players
that
always
is
had
that
to
does
drop
look very
Electric
dangerous.
Cherry by the 170s or face error. Well, on console they did. Lamster was forced to down himself on 173, get rid of Cherry, and play the classic strategy from there to 228. But seeing as how the buried error was massively delayed on PC, players figured it was possible that Cherry error was too. No one knew how far stair strategy would take you on PC. So players went and found out. In May of 2020, Stealth McFilthy returned to test how far you could get playing
233?
stairs the entire
Oh
game,
shit!
and he proved everyone's theories
He
correct.
proved them wrong. Oh,
Cherry
correct.
never did error your game
Oh,
on
okay.
PC. With all his rounds on the faster
Proved the other
strategy,
people wrong though.
he was able to reach round 233, tying the highest
Wow.
round ever achieved on Black Ops 2, which at the time was 233 by me on Buried. Stealth's game ended in a freeze right before he was going to reset, so he would have gotten 233 either way.
Oh, and that's the end of the game.
However, he took a lot of downs past 200, so there was still room for improvement on his game. Even so, Stealth's 233 would last as the longest standing Mob of the Dead world record to date. This was not for lack of attempts, however. but it was in part due to lack of motivation. Mob's
Yeah.
popularity as a high round map had diminished as the years went on,
I mean, that
as
many
it was
years
considered
playing Mob?
extremely monotonous,
Nah.
grueling, and just plain boring. Many of the console players, like Deniska and Lamster, had left or retreated from the mob scene after the switchover to PC, as they felt the game had been fundamentally changed with all the customizations and differences on the platform. Furthermore, due to something called the 25-day error, if players wanted to play out a full mob game to reset, they would have to play their game in just over 3 weeks, which equated to over 4 hours every single day for nearly a month. Not very appealing. However, some life was shocked back into Mob when some exciting discoveries were made in 2020 and 2022. The first was another new strategy. In May of 2020, while Stealth was in his game, a player named Stolas uploaded a video showcasing a completely different strategy he had invented in the Warden's office with the fan trap. This involved running into the Warden's office, pulling the fan trap, letting the zombies spawn, crawling back underneath the fan trap, and tomahawking the zombies out in the cell block, similar in theory to the classic strategy, but
Yeah.
with less room. This strategy was 2 SBH faster than Stairs, and 4 SBH faster than Classic. But crawling under the fan trap was very hit or miss, as it could easily insta-kill the player. But Black Ops 2 veteran Chris Voltage would set his eyes on the strategy, remaking it into a version where you didn't have to crawl under the fan trap, and you would simply stay in the cell block until it turned off, then tomahawk in the Warden's office while it recharged. This strategy
Safer.
was dubbed
It's a bit safer.
OnlyFans strategy.
Only. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Oh my god. Ooh. Okay.
OnlyFans had a lot of potential,
Okay.
but it was high risk,
Yeah.
high reward. The spawns
OnlyFans
were
for the win.
chaotic, and the areas you had to run it in were tight.
Yeah, I
Produced a
would not want to do
significant
this
speed
strategy.
boost. It seemed like Chris had it on lock, blazing past everyone else's rounds on the strategy.
Oh my god.
Until he G-spawned on 155. It appeared that a combination of Electric Cherry and Acid Gat spam were the culprits, despite the fact that Chris was on PC. This pointed to the theory that maybe Cherry Error was still on PC, just very delayed. Either way, it stopped the momentum of the strategy popularization, but players still
Look
saw
at the
it as a
quality. It
viable
went
way
up
to
after they
squeeze out
started playing on
rounds before
PC.
150, if you were up to the challenge. The other discovery was the source of the random extra entities players had been experiencing in recent years. With the reset optimizations, players were able to get down from around 270 to 280 entities to a minimum of 249 entities on the map in any given game. However, like what had happened in Lamster's game, entities were sometimes randomly added after going to the bridge, which effectively still left the reset up to chance. You could just see when you were going to reset a lot earlier on PC using a program called a reset tracker. This inconsistency stumped everyone, and players would simply have to do the entire setup and restart the game if they had a lot of entities after going to the bridge, which was horrendous considering restarting for the Mark II was also the meta at this point to play as fast as possible. But there was one player who realized he always had lower entities than everyone else, with no idea why. Brazilian high rounder Hefesto. Hefesto was able to get down to 246 or 247 entities consistently, giving him potentially another hour of reset time. But what was he doing differently? Detective Chris Voltage was on the case, copying Hefesto's setup play for play over and over again. He had to narrow down the cause. Finally, in February of 2022, he figured it out, and no one could have expected what it was.
Okay, what
During
was
the
it?
setup, Whenever you use one of the electric panels on the wall to go into Afterlife, it's possible that it will randomly add an entity to your game each time and lower the reset. Hephaestus had been downing himself with grenades or zombies to go into Afterlife in the interest of speed, having no idea that this affected anything.
Oh,
But once Chris figured this out, everyone could get down to 247 entities without doing trial and error. Another entity could be cleverly removed by getting the Blundergat out of the box and off the Warden's table through the Skull Easter egg. Since the game can't give you two of the same weapon, if you pick up the Blundergat from the box, and then from the desk as a secondary, it will just give you the Acid Gat from the desk. Then you can hold all the parts for the Acid Gat kit and never build it, saving an entity and bringing you down to 246.
big brain strategies. Big brain. Who the hell are these people? How did they come up with this shit?
245. There is still one random entity to this day that no one knows the cause of, but restarting for one entity isn't as critical as restarting for a handful, so players forged ahead. Still, action on Mob was slow and uneventful, as restarts were still brutal, and the community couldn't agree on whether to use a first box patch to mitigate them. But on New Year's Day 2023, Stealth's 2.5-year reign over Mob would finally end. Black Ops 1 player and serial map rotator Nestor53 would finally cycle through Mob of the Dead in his playlist, playing the same way as Stealth with stair strategy the whole game.
No OnlyFans?
Nestor was actually slower than Stealth to 200, but gained back this lost time afterward by taking less downs than Stealth after 200. Nestor had the longest recorded reset on Mob at 104 hours and 20 minutes, giving him just enough time to change the round over to 234 before resetting. This game was controversial at first, because Nestor used an in-game trap timer, which told him exactly when the acid trap would be recharged after every use. It's widely accepted as legit if you do this manually, but automating it is kind of a gray area. However, the merit of this game was generally agreed upon, and is considered a world record by most players. Nestor's 234 still stands as the Mob of the Dead world record at the time of this video. However, this is actually
Really?
considered one of the easier Black Ops 2 world records to beat right now.
Why?
Nestor didn't actually
What?
utilize OnlyFans strat
Yeah.
or the 245 entity optimization, so there's already a lot of known ways you could gain time on his game. Plus, there are always new optimizations being discovered, even more so in the past few years for Mob. The main thing holding players back is lack of motivation.
Yep.
That's something I'm hoping this video will fix. Mob has actually shown signs of a resurgence recently. In fact, while I was making this video, the record was almost beaten again. Spanish player Sefi made it to round 233 before his game crashed and closed itself. He most likely would have been too slow to make it to 235, but only because of the nearly 70 downs he took, a skill that can be easily improved upon. And he's not the only one playing these days. Players like Hephaestus and Gaming Ghost are still dedicated to taking the record one day, and even Lamster has returned to the Mob scene for his crown. Because in looking back on 10 years of world records on this map,
Wow.
one thing is definitely clear. Dedication is key to Mob of the Dead. Not many players are willing
I
to play a
would
single
not be
match
as
for
dedicated.
over 100 hours,
Yeah, that.
and
Yeah,
even
no.
fewer
No,
to
no,
do
no, no.
that over and over again.
No.
But if Space Marine or Lamster or Stealth had tapped out after a few attempts,
Mhm.
then all the progress on the strategies, on the rounds, on the map's place in the community may never have come around.
Yep.
But knowing these players,
The legends
it's no
themselves, bro,
surprise
the
they kept
legends.
playing. It would be one thing to dig your way out of Alcatraz,
There are always those few
but
legends
it's
in
a
every
whole
single
other
map.
thing to escape Mob of the Dead. I'm Wonderful, and this has been the complete world record history of Mob of the Dead. Thanks for watching.
Wow. What a video. What a video. I'm loving making these videos,
If
man.
you enjoyed this video, let me know what map's world record history you'd like to see covered next.
Probably
I plan on
Dirise.
doing every Black Ops 2 Zombies map in this series, but not in a specific order, so I'll probably be polling the community. I also want to give a big thanks to everyone who helped me with digging up old info on these records and strategies, especially Becca and Lamster. It's great to be able to keep these record histories from being lost
Yep.
to time. Key to Mob of the
Okay,
Dead.
so
Not many
wow, what a video. Honestly, I have no idea what Mob of the Dead went through. But I mean, I'm already subscribed to him. You know what? Let's put a like on that video. Shit, well deserved. Next time we'll be going through Origins. I think that's the world record of the Easter eggs. Easter egg world records. I believe Origins is the Easter egg world records are more fun to watch on certain maps than others. The Mob of the Dead one, it's really easy. Like honestly, there's nothing to like that convolute that I can't speak right now. There's nothing too complicated in the map to where it would be an exciting watch, but except for the highest round. Diarise, no one has made a video about it, and obviously the Easter egg is super easy, but the high round attempts, I kind of want to watch that, but I haven't found any on the internet yet. So I'll keep looking, or maybe I'll wait for Wonderful to make a video on it. But yeah, that's basically gonna be it for Black Ops 2. Hopefully next week I will be reacting to that, and make sure to subscribe to be one of the first people to watch it with me. Well, obviously you can go watch it yourself right now online, but yeah, I'm just gonna be reacting to that next week, and yeah, I'll be seeing you guys later. It's been Haruto, and I'll be don't forget to leave a like and please subscribe. So yeah, I'll be seeing you guys next time. See ya. Bye.